welcome back to the last segment for this evening. I'm delighted to have on the line with us, and following on very nicely from the last two items, is dumpster diver Shere Khan. Good evening to you.
Hey Nick, how you doing?
Good, thank you. How long have you been doing this, jumping into bins to retrieve things?
I guess for about 5.5 years or so.
How did it start?
It started when I was traveling in Europe, and I was quite into low-budget sort of backpacking around. Like, I made my own camping gear, and I was hitchhiking, and I met someone who said that they were able to live completely for free, and I was like, wow, how? You know, like, I understand how you get around, and I understand, you know, where you sleep at night, but everyone's got to eat, right? And so they explained to me about how you can dumpster dive, and it was just like a whole world of possibilities for me.
So, explain to us some of the premium sort of sites which yield the goodies.
It's definitely going to be supermarkets. Supermarkets and open markets are where, like, most of, like, the most accessible waste happens. But the other thing is, if you go out to farms, like, they throw a phenomenal amount of food away, which might, you know, just be slightly discolored or misshapen or, you know, too large, too small, just non-standard produce, which is perfectly good. And that's probably the number one place if you want quantity. But if you want a range of things, it would be supermarkets.
So if it's a farm, I'm surprised they're not processing the waste into, you know, a nutrient for the soil. They're just chucking produce away.
Well, I mean, that's compost, yeah? So it is being recycled, but, like, it's perfectly good food which could be going to, you know, human consumption or even animal consumption.
So do you ask their permission?
Sorry?
Do you ask the farmers' permission?
Of course. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. And usually they're more than happy to, you know, actually see some of their beautiful food go to someone who is going to appreciate it, or go to, you know, a community venture, or to feed an event.
But you don't ask permission from the restaurants and the supermarkets, I imagine.
You can. I do sometimes ask permission from restaurants, but most supermarkets have policies which prohibit it.
Yeah, because I've noticed they sometimes lock the cages, don't they?
Yeah, that's right. And I think that that's pretty short-sighted, pretty unfortunate. Like, there's a lot of amazing charities out there which would very happily send people over to pick up any excess food, but instead, like, there's just phenomenal quantities of food every day going into the landfill.
My children have actually had experience of dumpster diving.
Oh, cool.
We've, you know, we've been renting for a number of years for whatever reason, and we've had to move fairly often, more than most people. And quite often, for whatever reason, we haven't had sufficient cardboard boxes, and certainly didn't want to go buying them. So we've headed off to a couple of the local supermarkets and I had to sort of put my youngest child, because she was small enough, actually into the cage to get the car past the flattened cardboard boxes out. And she was never in any danger, and she actually really enjoyed it. They thought it was great fun.
Yeah, there's actually part of the thing with dumpster diving. It is a lot of fun. It's like kind of going out on a nighttime adventure, and it's a bit like Christmas, because you never really know what you're going to get, but you're probably going to find something.
Now, you must have been caught.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think it's actually, in general, I go at night because I think it's more respectful to employees if, you know, they don't see you, because that way they don't have to, like, you know, do anything that they're not supposed to, or, you know, that's not in their contract. But a lot of places which, like, maybe not supermarkets, but smaller outfits, the people are just really happy to see someone actually taking the food, which they normally just see going to waste. And they'll often bring out stuff which, you know, was about to be thrown away and give it to you. And that's happened to me quite a bit at supermarkets as well.
Have you ever dived in and been confronted by something horrendous like a pig's head or something like that?
I've found some pretty disgusting stuff. Like, sometimes they'll have, like, a bag of, you know, butchery things or something, you know, full of fish. And obviously you don't want to take any food which has had, like, any contact with meat or fish products.
Yes, goodness me, no. So, do you disrobe and have a good shower when you get home?
No, like, I mean, dumpster diving is a bit of a misnomer. You know, I actually call it skip skimming because generally what you do is you just take off the top. You're just skimming, you know, the nice, fresh, clean stuff. In general, I don't even get my clothes dirty. Like, there are times when I will, like, actually get inside a bin and, like, really dig through it. And in those cases, yeah, I'll definitely change my clothes. But it's very rare that I've ever wanted to actually have a shower because it doesn't usually get on my skin.
And I'm speaking with dumpster diver Shere Khan. Sounds like it's quite a lifestyle thing for you. If you're meeting somebody new in a relationship, how long do you wait until you broach the idea to them that this is what you do?
It usually comes up fairly quickly because I do like to cook and I like to share food with people, and I always tell people like if there's some dumpster dive products. And actually, most people are more curious and interested than you'd think. Like, my mother now comes out dumpster diving with me. She's sometimes, like, very, very keen to go out. In general, you know, it's just, it's almost like, you know, being able to be, like, quite wealthy in terms of what you eat without actually needing to have any money. You can have a lot of...
Sorry, what's the most surprising thing you ever found?
Surprising...
Like, goodness me,
find
look
all
at this.
kinds of surprising things, like party hats, and just last week we found some little cactus erasers, and like super random. Maybe I found a couple of Spanish like jamón ibérico legs. That's like a whole leg of cured ham, in a basically perfect state.
Do you have territories, so you have to be careful you don't poach on somebody else's patch?
No, there's too much that's actually going to waste. Like, I always like to encourage people to dumpster dive because there's way more than me and my community can eat. So, in general, it's just kind of like if you see another person while you're dumpster diving in the same place, you share what you find. And I think that that's a really nice thing to do.
Great stuff. Shere Khan, thank you so much for joining us this evening on After Dark. It's been great to hear about you and your dumpster diving exploits.
Thank you, Nick.
Good night to you. Well,
good night.
Good night to you. I think we're going to wrap things up now. We might even catch the end of the cricket. Who knows? But it's been a very interesting show this evening, and we look forward to doing it all over again next Sunday. And from me, Nic Pegg, and from the After Dark production team, good night.